Fish multiple qualifiers, some qualified first pop, but to be here on the day is everything for their angling career. Even those like Jamie, who's won it 3 times, and people that have been here 7 or 8 times, it's an amazing experience.
Well, Jamie Hughes is here for the 9th time, which now means that he's been in more finals than Steve Cook, who held the record until today. But this man won it back in 1999. From an angler's perspective, what's it like to be out there on the rig angling with crowds behind you and people watching on television?
I'm very fortunate that I won it on my second attempt. My first attempt, I had a chance to win it, but I won it on my second attempt. It was driving me back again. To be part of this final is tremendous. Us guys want to be here every time. Once you've experienced this final, it's the World Cup of fishing. And every time you've been here, it forces you back. It's a drug. We want to be here all the time. This is why I want to be here. And I hate Jamie Hughes, actually. I hate him. No, he's a great guy. He's just better fisherman than me.
We've been going since 1994. It's the longest running event on Sky Sports. Pete Black won it last year. Look at Jamie Hughes, 13, 15, 17. So if we follow a pattern, he should win it in 19, but it's not that easy to predict. He's won it 3 times. The only man to have won it on multiple occasions apart from him is Matt Hall, who won it there in 2009. And just before that, Matt won it again, was it a couple of years before?
Yeah, it was 2004 maybe, I can't remember. It's a long time ago, Rob, we've been here for too long.
The first ever winner, Ian Turner, back in 94, and Steve, who's alongside us, back in 1999 as well. £50,000 today is going to come in very useful, Steve, to whoever wins it, isn't it? But it's having your name on that roll of honour.
To some of these younger anglers, £50,000 is a tremendous amount of money, and it's life-changing. But that's not what they want. They want that trophy to be stood on there at the end, wet through, having been chucked in, and to go through that emotion is tremendous.
Well, standing on the podium just behind our camera is our Master of Ceremonies. Let's make it official, Phil Seymour.
We've got 24 anglers all around the lake ready to battle it out for a first prize of £50,000. So let's get things started with the all-in.
That is the sound they were all dreaming of in the middle of the night. The start of Fisher Mania 26, a festival of fishing. We hope a carnival of carp. They've been in training for this. They've been on the barbels.
Keep them coming, Rob, keep them coming.
5.5 hours of this.
Some of them have been tench pressing.
If you don't know the way it works, they angle for 5 hours continuously. We have a weigh-in every 30 minutes, and it is the cumulative weight of the anglers during the course of the afternoon. There is Jamie Hughes, who's, he says, unfancied. Some of it comes down to tactics, a lot of it comes down to skill, but it also comes down to where you are drawn on the eve of the tournament, in the peg draw. Well, they reckon that it's going to be between peg 4 and peg 8 if it goes down to where the fish are assembling. That's what they were saying before the event. But over on peg 24 is Ben Emery. And as the anglers set up their rigs this morning, the fish were having a party over there. And a couple of his competitors came over, shook his hand and said, the title's yours already. Is that a little bit of psychology already, Keith?
Well, there are a lot of fish down that end of the lake, but, you know, they've got fins and they move, and the disturbance on the bank and the noise of the klaxon interferes with what they would normally do, and they generally run for cover to the wide areas of the lake or to the sanctuary island. So, you know, which is why the island is such a favoured area. But if there were a lot of fish there, as you say, on the surface, the wind has changed a little bit now. It's not as strong as it was, and it's definitely got warmer and brighter.
Yeah, definitely.
Would that have an impact, Steve? Do you think?
Yeah, I think we want a warm day. We don't want too much sunshine because it'll make it a little bit hard for the guys fishing as well. But it'll be a steady start off, and it'll slowly improve as the fish get used to the bait, go and get used to the amount of people and bankside disturbance. Where Ben is fortunate. He's got an empty peg at the side of him, so it's a lottery really at the minute.
Yeah.
Well, peg 18 is the hot peg so far. Andy May, who has been our resident expert in recent years, he talks a very good game, and he's already got a beautiful looking specimen in his bag.
There's a considerable lump of fish flesh there. That looked 4 kilos getting on, yeah.
What he's done, he started short on his short 2 metre line. Hopefully, quite often the fish lay there, and at the start of the match you can pinch 1 to 2 here, and there could be up to 5 kilos. So he started there, he's pinched a fish. Hopefully he'll try and get another one before he'll go shallow, and that's what he'll do. That'll be his technique. You can see he's fishing at full depth. He'll be fishing not too far out, not a lot of bait, and trying to pick one fish, enough food for one fish at a time. That's what he'll be doing.
And when you talked about fishing shallow, and we've got 4 outstanding anglers here that are probably top of their trade, and Andy May is probably the top shallow angler here, I would think, especially with big carp are involved.
Andy May doesn't have a plummet in his box, and a plummet's used to find your depth at the bottom. Andy May just puts a rig on, sets it at 2 foot, 3 foot deep, and fishes shallow. That's his favourite way. That's his summertime is his time of the year to fish.
Well, Andy, already off the mark, the other anglers in intense concentration. Let's get to know our finalists this year. We'll have our first shake around the lake with our reporters. Looking after pegs 1 to 6 is Michael Bridge.
Yes, good morning, Rob. And yes, you've just had an applause here because Jordan Holloway, the 20-year-old, is already underway. It's his debut today and there's high hopes for him. He's only been fishing for 5 years, but as I say, he's one underway already. He's fished the World Youth Championships. I'm told by angling experts that he will win a Fishermania. Will this be his year? Now, from one potential champion to the master, Jamie Hughes. He's won this 3 times, considered Mr. Fishermania. He's won the tournament record 3 times, and he's in an unprecedented 8th consecutive Fishermania Grand Final. Now, there was talk that he wasn't overly happy with his peg. He said, no, I'm getting on with it. Sign of a champion. Now, many debuts here today, and here's the third one. Peg 3, Lee Riley from Manchester. They call him the Viking. I've never seen a Viking go fishing before, but it could be the year for Lee Riley. He just said, they're all laughing, the Viking, isn't he? He's the Viking. And the Viking is ready to go. Go on, the Viking. Over on peg 4, is no relation to me, is Gavin Bridge from Chelmsford. Now, Gavin has lived in America for 25 years. He's only been fishing for about 7 years. If you fit, and he is really ready for this. And his 2 sons living in America, they're watching it, they're streaming it today in America. Very proud of his dad. Now, he gave up golf due to a spinal injury, started to go fishing, and it turns out he's very good at it. So good luck to him today. Now, over on peg 5, this is a fantastic crowd around peg 5. I wonder why, because people fancy this man today. Another debutant, it's Simon Skelton. Now, there is a lot of obstacles around here, but don't worry, it's only live. Yeah, he's really looking forward to this. He's delighted with his peg, and why wouldn't you? All the talk in the hotel this morning was he wanted to be around here, so he's really looking forward to it today. A huge Leicester City supporter as well. Now, number 6, my final peg, Andy Bennett, another debutant today. Can't wait to start today's show. He's a Manchester City fan, so he's used to winning. He said he's delighted with his peg and he's ready to go. So that's pegs 1 to 6. I've got a fantastic crowd with me. Over to Jenna Books on peg 7.
Yeah, thanks very much, Michael. Well, for the 2nd year in a row, I am covering pegs 7 to 12, and it was right here at peg 7 that Pete Black won that £50,000 prize money. Will Luke Webster be as fortunate? Well, I don't know if you just heard those cheers there, but he has caught his first fish. He told me earlier that if he could have chosen any peg around the lake, it would have been this one. So we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on Luke Webster. That brings us to our youngest qualifier of the day, Christian Jones. Now, Christian is just 20 years of age. He told me that he was absolutely made up to be in this final today. And of course, if he does manage to win Fishermania 2019, he becomes the youngest Fishermania champion in the history of this event. Now, a couple of my anglers have the opportunity of creating history today. Abby Kendall is on peg number 9, and she is our only female qualifier of the day. She told me that this event is a life-changing one, and if she was to win the £50,000 prize money, then she would buy a house. Now, of course, if she does win Fishermania 2019, then she will also become the first female to be crowned the Fishermania champion. So best of luck to her. Now, on peg 10 is Roland Lucas. Now, Roland has actually only ever fished at Hayfield Lakes on 3 previous occasions, all of which happened to be this week. Now, he's pretty happy with his position. He is fishing in his first Fishermania final. As I said, he's quite happy and he's looking forward to the day ahead. Now, Steve Brindley is on peg 11, and Steve is also another debutante at this grand final. And I actually have a really nice story about Steve. His son, Carl, in fact, for Christmas last year, bought his ticket for the qualifiers for the makeshift fishery qualifiers, which which of course Steve won, because that is why he's here today. So he does have his son Carl to thank. Now, Steve told me that one of his main objectives today is to make his son extremely proud. Well, I spoke to Carl a little bit earlier, and Steve, I'm pretty sure that you've already done that. Now that brings us to my final peg for the day, peg 12, which is Tim Peters. Now, Tim is another debutant of this event. He told me that he's only fished here on one other occasion. It was just practice. He's not that fussed about his position around the lake today. In fact, he doesn't really know much about any of the positions around the lake today. One person, in fact, that isn't here supporting him is his girlfriend, and that is because, well, quite frankly, she's got no interest in fishing. To which I said, Tim, if you happen to take home that £50,000 prize money, I'm fairly certain she will have quite a lot of interest quite quickly. But that is me done. Peg 7 to 12. Rob Palmer, I believe, is on peg 13.
Thank you very much, Jenna. We're on the other side of the lake. Keith, Steve and I have just done a lap of the lake. I got gold, Keith got silver, Steve got the bronze. There we are. How you doing? Found us. We're looking after at the moment pegs 13 to 16. On peg 13 is Vince Cross. He's hoping that it's lucky 13. It's his debut in the competition. Until today, his biggest claim to fame was partnering Bob Nudd in the pairs. His highlight, he says, was winning the Angling Times Suffolk County Championships. Alongside him, his neighbour for the afternoon from the Wirral is Lee Thornton. He was the runner-up in 2005, 14 years ago. Qualified at Lindholm Lakes back in April by a mighty £20 from James Roper. He's a former Matchman of the Year. He won that in 2016. Now you'll see where we are, there are crowds around us. It's not because Keith, myself and Steve have made the journey around the lake. We mentioned today there are 1,000 coming to spectate, and they're hoping for a masterclass down on peg 15. Will Raisin, third final, runner-up 2002, 2017, a former world champion, Euro champion, won UK championships as well. And if it comes down to ability, this guy will be the clear favourite, Keith.
He's the master of all techniques. That's the great thing about him. And just to confirm how good he is, I've actually drawn him in the sweep. So that's that's a lot more.
With a corner bit
a lot more extra pressure on Will for that, because I've already told him. But yeah, he's good at top at every method. So whatever they do here today, if they're in front of him, he will catch them.
So they come not just to watch him, but to learn from him as well, Steve,
exactly.
haven't they?
Well, the thing is he's so good at what he does. He puts a lot of time and effort in, and it repays. That's why he's so good. He puts all the effort and time he needed to do it. The peg he's drawn really suits him as well.
Yeah. He's a superstar of the event, but when he qualified, he left home at 4 o'clock in the morning, travelled 230 miles, took the advice of Andy Bennett, and then he beat Andy Bennett. Alongside him is a debutant at the other end of the fishing scale. He's come a long way from Somerset. It's Ben Hart, 28 years of age. He's got his supporters and his posse with him today. They'll be shouting Hagoo, apparently, if he wins. He's very much the modern angler. He produces his own video blogs. I've been watching him on YouTube. Knowledge is the power. He's also been in the Match This final in 2018. Well, let's continue to meet the anglers. I know fish have been caught behind us. Let's go now from pegs 18 to 24, and looking after those is Ben Ransom.
We'll start with 17, Rob, but thank you very much, because it's already been a really exciting start over this side of the lake. On number 17, we've got Paul Gibson from Stoke, a window cleaner. He qualified for this Fisher Mania final by just 5 ounces. Well, he's already got way more than that in the bag. What about this? As we saw, he brought it in expertly. Paul Gibson off to a fantastic start then. 1 in the bag already, and great start for him. And just on the peg next door, number 18, it's a man who doesn't need much of an introduction. He was part of our Sky Sports team last year, 2016 champion Andy May, and he, like Paul Gibson next to him, has already pulled in an absolute whopper. What a start for the 2016 champion in his 4th Fisher Mania final. You can see quite right. I mean, look at the size of the crowds here behind Andy May and behind Paul Gibson. Absolutely massive crowds on this terrain. Number 19 is Carl Visser. He's come from the Netherlands. He tells me he's from a town close to Arnhem. Will the Fisher Mania final be a bridge too far for him? We'll find out. He's won plenty of Dutch national championships. He likes his peg. He also tells me he likes hiking. Not sure how many mountains there are in the Netherlands, but he promises me that is actually his pursuit. At least it's hilly on this side of the bank. Number 20 is Luke Gasson from Epsom in Surrey. He's a landscape gardener. His first Fishermania final, another one of our debutantes. Difficult start on this side of the lake. His tactic was just to try and keep in close to start with. But on number 21, moving along, Douglas Jackson from Tuxford in Nottinghamshire, just 25 minutes down the road, so relatively local. Now he says this is a slightly odd peg because of the angle that he's at, but big fish have been caught off these pegs. There were plenty of fish down in this part of the lake last night and into this morning. So it's a slightly strange position there for Douglas Jackson, another debutant, his first Fishermania final. Alongside him is number 22, Simon Fry. He tells me he's going to be looking out towards the point of the island. We heard Keith talking about the importance of that. That's going to be his tactic early on. He's going to try and get himself out there. He says he's got a chance if it's lower weight. We've already seen a couple of big carp on this side of the lake. He plays a bit of golf and he's looking forward to the Cricket World Cup final tomorrow. Huge England cricket fan. Alongside him, we go to Germany. Marcus Billen. His last practice match on Wednesday, Andy May won off this peg, so it's got a little bit of form for Marcus Billen. He's looking for those big carp early. His third Fishermania final, and to finish off this side of the lake, number 24 is Ben Emery, a cabinet maker from Capel in Surrey. Again, he was told by lots of the competitors down here, congratulated already for winning it. There was a bit of psychology maybe because of the number of fish on this side of the lake, but their approach very much, they think they're either going to win it or bin it and finish last. So that rounds up the anglers on this side of the lake. Let's go back to the experts and of course, Rob Palmer.
Well, we're here for 5.5 hours in total this afternoon. There's loads going on behind us. This is the main event, Fishermania, but as I mentioned, it's a festival of fishing. We also have the ladies and the juniors competing right at the top end of the lake, and looking after that is Kelly Ashton.
Thanks, Rob. I am here at the far side of the lake looking after the ladies and the juniors events today. They got underway half an hour before the main event and they'll be finishing slightly earlier. The juniors will be finishing just after 3:30 and the ladies just after 4 p.m. this afternoon. We'll be keeping you updated with all the latest throughout the day.
Thank you, Kelly. I think last year, Keith, I'm right in saying that the biggest fish of the day was caught by a lady, wasn't it?
That often happens here at Hayfield. The only previous female qualifier for Fishermania was Wendy Locker, and she won the biggest fish prize here. We won £10 odd, massive fish for the time.
Abby Kendall is normally part of that, but Abby today is part of the main event. She won the ladies qualifier. There were 50 ladies that entered, and she's representing them, and she's some angler as well.
Well, Steve was here fishing an open match on Wednesday that was arranged for the finalists, and Steve managed to blag a peg, and he drew next to Abby, and she battered him. She actually doubled his weight. Well, she will tell you.
She doubled everybody's weight on that bank. She fished a really good match. She doesn't need any help. She knows what she's doing. She's there. She's confident. A couple of fish, and she'll be there pushing people.
Well, a lot of the attention is centred on Jamie Hughes. His 9th final, 8 in a row. He won it in 13, 15 and 17. And he's got off to an excellent start as well. He's an angling coach by trade and a consultant. If he speaks, you listen. And he's practicing what he preaches on a daily basis over there on the Wirral. It is at this stage of the day a game of patience. You can take all the time in the world. Things may quicken up when it gets to around 4:30 this afternoon for the final weigh-in, but he has made a sensational start.
He has, yeah. That will give you. He must have 10 kilos, more than 10 kilos in his net.
I would say 12 to 13 kilo,
yeah.
Keith, to be fair, the big fish.
And those ghosties way, interesting fish, ghost carp. They're a cross between a type of koi and a king carp. Very attractive fish.
Prettiest fish in the world.
Yeah, fight like mad, don't they?
Yeah. I think
never know when they're beaten.
We always say try and get some fish in every way and get his nose in front, and he's done that.
Well, we're getting very close to our first weigh-in of the afternoon. We have a weigh-in every 30 minutes. He'll be anxious, Jamie Hughes, to find out how he has been doing in Fishermania. He's got off to an absolute flyer. He's a very big fish in a very big pond. Whilst you're away, we heard the first hoot of the day, which signals the first weigh, and it has been very active here at Hayfield Lakes in South Yorkshire. Fisher Mania, the 26th final. It has been very busy down there on Peg 2. 3 times winner, legend of angling, Jamie Hughes, has already got a hat-trick, Keith.
And they're quality fish as well. He's had that big common first, and he's had 2 of the famous Hayfield ghosties that are proper bruisers. When you look at the size of these fish, there are thousands and thousands of smaller fish in here, and yet on Fisher Mania the big ones really stick their head out, don't they? Look at this.
If you look what he's doing, he's fishing to his strengths. He's fishing shallow and trying to catch everything that swims.
Yeah.
Old Steve Cook is an ex-champ. What does it mean to get your first fish in the bag, even if you're experienced like Jamie?
That really settles your nerves down. You want to fish early to weigh in your first weigh, and he's done that. He's got 3, so now people are playing catch up, and we all know what it's like. It's like Groundhog Day again, isn't it? Jamie Hughes show, but you know, it's quality act.
Well, what he will want to know is what the weight of those fish are. They're working behind him. His banker is taking the fish over to the scales, and keeping an eye on that is Michael Bridge.
What a start we have here on Peg 2. Jamie Hughes, one of the favourites here. And he's had 3 so far. Great start.
10 kilos, 750 grams.
10 kilos, 750 grams. A great start here. And I'm just going to go and have a quick chat with Jamie Hughes at the moment. Jamie, so you weren't overly happy with your peg, but was that all mind games?
No, I'm getting lucky with a couple of...
Perfect start?
Yeah, to start that I wanted to catch a couple of early fish just to get myself into it.
You've got a fantastic crowd behind you at the moment. Best of luck, great start. Over to you, Ben Ransom.
Look at the size of those. That one, the biggest of those, came out first, would you believe, on this side of the bank. Let's see what Andy May is going to start. I mean, they're so heavy there. Look how difficult this is to even get on the weight. So
9 kilos, 2.
9 kilos 2. What an incredible start from Andy May. Let's go and see if we can just grab a quick word with Andy. Andy, 9 kilos 2.
Nice.
You were expert last year. You're expert again this year, eh?
No, mate, just lucky. Got to be lucky, ain't you, Ben?
This side of the bank, I mean, what have you noticed so far? How's it fishing?
Yeah, it's fishing better than I thought, to be honest with you. I've had a quick look on method to start with, but nothing on that. Paul's next to me's had a carp short, so I've gone on that, and I've had a great big one first choke, and then nothing else. And I've come on a wagon and had a couple of fish, so it's not looking too bad at the minute, mate.
Perfect start, would you say, so far?
Yeah, not as good as Jamie's, but he's as good as him. It makes me sick, that bloke. Yeah, no, well happy, Ben. Well happy, mate.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Andy.
No problem,
Andy,
mate.
Then good start here on peg number 18.
If you're into the angling, you would argue this is the biggest sporting event of the weekend. 16 of the anglers have got off the mark. The 2 former winners are at the top of the leaderboard. Jamie Hughes just ahead of Andy May. Vince Cross on the unfanted peg 13. Andy Bennett, who was heavily backed on peg 6. That's where they thought there would be a lot of action this afternoon. Has got off to a decent start as well. Ben Emery, when he went to his peg this morning, he saw the fish having a bit of a boogie over there as well. That's the top of the leaderboard, the opening 8. We have 24 anglers, of course, this afternoon. Abby Kendall, who won the ladies qualifier, is in 9th place. Carl Visser, who's come over, Visser the Fisher, as Keith called him, is in 12th place. Simon Skelton on peg 5 again, which is one of the favoured pegs. Hasn't got off too good a start, but at least these guys have got something into the bag. That is the top 2/3 of the table. Will Raisin, heavily backed, former European, world, UK champion, has got nothing. That will make all of the anglers who've come here this afternoon feel that he is human. Well, Ben Hagg is one of the anglers who caught nothing in the opening 30 minutes. One of our debutants. He angles for Guru and Mainline Match. This is the young man who produces his own video blogs. Well, he's finally got something to tell the camera.
He certainly has. He caught that on the pellet waggler, and he's next to Will Raisin, and Will's come off the feeder, which he was using from the very start, casting very, very tight to the island, and both of them now are on the pellet waggler.
Over on peg 3, Lee Riley, another debutant. 34 years of age, as we said before. We have consultants, world champions, but Lee, by day, is a joiner and a builder. His favourite angler is Andy Bennett, who's not too far away from him on peg 6. This is over on peg 24, Ben Emery.
Ben had a couple of fish at the start, as we saw. There's a lot of fish swimming around in front of him. The polar bear, as he's known on the match circuit.
If you look where he's drawn, every angler, if you're an M-peg, has got a stopper and a spare peg. He's got actually another spare peg because of the ladies' match, which gives him a bit more room than most people, which is unusual. So he's got a little bit more room, so that would be favourable today.
Well, we used to have a perfectly circular lake. Now they're staring at each other. On the left-hand side of your screen, you have pegs 1 to 12. On the right-hand side, you have pegs 13 to 24. The hot pegs at the moment, pegs 2, 18 and 13. Over on peg 21 is Douglas Jackson.
You can see there he's fishing. You can see his float, best part of a metre above the float, so he's fishing the pellet waggler too. The fish are close to the surface, but they're not right on the surface. You don't see a few cruising. They've dropped down a bit in the water now, which in these weather conditions is what you'd expect, really, Steve. It's sun that makes them bask.
That's right. If it was a hot, flat, sunny day, they'd be in the top foot of water. Now they're a bit deeper. We can't see many fish cruising about. They're a little bit deeper, but it gives you more time. When it's only 2 foot deep, as soon as your pellet wagglers hit the water, you've only got seconds for your bait to be set before you have to recast. When it's 3 foot deep, 3 and 4 foot deep, you've got more time, a little bit more time when you're actually fishing. The fish is in the water.
I'm glad you're imperial and I'm metric because people don't understand us now.
I'm old-fashioned, Keith.
Yeah. We fish with a 15-metre pole, 4 feet deep.
Yeah.
Over on the other side of the lake at peg 4 is the oldest angler in the competition, Gavin Bridge. I hope he doesn't mind me giving away his age. He's 59 years of age. He said he's here representing the common man. The weekend angler is a hair care technician by day, but he says he's the man of the people, man of the common carp people today.
You could visit him, Rob. Might be able to do you a favour, you never know. And it's true, he's not a hardcore match angler. He doesn't go on the circuit chasing fisho. He turned up at his qualifier, caught enough to win. That's what you got to do. His biggest match bag's only £299. Only £299. You just catch that in a season and think we've done well.
Well, most of the anglers have been fishing all their lives. He's only been fishing 7 years. He took it up at the age of 52.
It's incredible, really. But he's taking it up at the right time. He's taking it up when there's been all new techniques. And when you come into these techniques as an experienced angler or as an experienced person, you can sometimes develop things from that. And you can see there, see that little cube, that's his weight. He's fishing a feed, he's fishing a bomb, he's ledgering, probably loose feeding pellets over the top.
Well, Will, who had a duck in the opening half an hour, is hoping that he is climbing up the board. Over there on peg 9, been a lot of activity with Abby Kendall. She is with Jenna Brooks.
Yeah, I certainly am here at peg 9, and it has been a very busy half hour for Abby Kendall. Rob, if you bring up what I am led to believe, she's got about 7 kilos in there, according to her bank runner and partner, Rob, who we might grab for a little chat after this weigh-in. Let me just come around here. So just a reminder, peg 9 with Abby Kendall.
£7 kilo 275.
7 kilo 275. Rob, that was kind of your prediction, wasn't it? That was not a bad half hour.
No, it's been good. Yeah, it's been all right. It's slow going, but when they're that big, you don't have to catch many. So yeah, it's going good so far.
Just a word on your partner, Abby. She's obviously just the second female to be fishing in this Fishermania final. How proud are you of her?
Brilliant. You know, it's awesome. She deserves it. You know, she puts a lot of work in, and yes, good, really good.
And you're an angler as well.
Yep.
She's made Fishermania before you have.
Yeah, all right. Okay, don't rub it in.
Competitive?
Yeah, very competitive household, yeah.
And just very quickly, if she was to win the £50,000 prize money, she told me she was going to buy a house. Are you happy with that?
I don't know, I think I'll get it transferred in my bank and I'll be off. But yeah, no, it'd be nice if it happens, you know. It's massive, isn't it?
Well, Rob, I hope that she has another very, very busy half hour. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
I'm here on peg number 5 with 18-year-old Sarah Taylor, and it's her Fishermania debut today. Sarah, how are you finding it?
Yeah, I think it's really good. I think the experience is really nice to have, and like you say, it's my debut, so yeah, it's just really good experience.
So we had a bit of a slow start here today, but you've already caught 4 or 5 fish. What techniques are you using to gain that success?
Yeah, so at the moment I'm just on a method feeder towards the post that's just slightly to my right of the swim, and I seem to be catching just a few fish there at the moment, so, and then I've got other ideas planned for later on in the match, so I hope they all go to plan.
And are you confident? Do you think you can win it today?
If it all goes my way, then yeah, you know, I've got a shot, but we'll just have to see how the fishing goes at the end of the day and just see what happens.
Good luck.
On peg 22 is Simon Fry, who I think is having a good afternoon. Well, we'll be revealed. I think we can go down and join Ben Ransom.
Yeah, exactly that. He's had a really good half hour, actually. He got just over 4 kilos on the first half an hour, so we're just going to grab the bag out now. It's been a good second half an hour. We reckon we might have another 6 kilos or so. So let's see now. All will be revealed as the bank runner just lifts the bag out. Oh yeah, there's a couple of nice ones in there. Came here full of confidence, Simon Fry. Wasn't necessarily sure about this peg, but there's 2 really nice fish in there. Let's have a look. What can we see on the weight there? Just turn it around. There you go. 6
kilo 175.
So that'll take him past 10 kilograms then for Simon Fry. Good half an hour here on peg 22.
Well, there is Simon Fry. And a great point you were making, Keith, as we were over there with Ben, is that the anglers that didn't fancy the pegs are catching fish.
Exactly. I mean, Jamie had a face like a gas man's Mac when he drew that peg last night. He really didn't want it.
What's our older viewers there?
he really didn't want it. And Simon wasn't particularly happy with 22. It's just, who knows, they're fish. As Steve said, the wind's an unusual wind for Hayfield. It's not blowing in a normal direction. It's usually fantastically sunny when we're here. It's sunny Donny. And today it isn't. It's more like, it feels more like an October day actually, doesn't it?
He is Simon Fry, 55 years of age. He's known as Mr. Nice Guy. So he's Fry the Nice Guy.
Big Si, we call him. Big Si.
Yeah. Big Si. Well, this is our new leader. This is Vince Cross, who is on peg 13. His favourite angler, he says, is Jamie Hughes. Well, he won't be Jamie's favourite angler because Jamie was leading, and Jamie, in the last half an hour, caught absolutely nothing at all. He got off to a good start, Jamie, of course, with 10.75 kilos, but Vince Cross is now at the top of the leaderboard with 11 kilos in total, 3.2 in the last half an hour. Abby Kendall had the best 30 minutes of her fishing life, probably actually 7.275 kilos, takes her into third place on 10.5 kilos. And then Simon Fry over on the unfancied peg 22 with just under 10.5 kilos. Luke Webster as well had a good half an hour. We saw him with that almost 3 kilos of fish. Also the last half an hour, Dougie Jackson on peg peg 21 had a decent 5.1 kilos. So as you say quite rightly, Keith, they're being caught everywhere.
That's right. It's interesting what Cookie said about how Vince is fishing. He's fishing 2+2, which is a fairly common term, and it means he's fishing just with his top kit, which will probably be 2.5 metres, and then 2 more sections. So he's fishing with 4 sections of pole, probably total about
5 metres.
5 metres, maybe 15, 16 feet long, and he's just concentrating on that area, keeping the feed really tight and fishing on the bottom. And it's a good method here on a lot of matches.
I hope he blinks in a second. I'm a bit worried about it. He's clearly absolutely delighted, isn't he? You can see it in his face. This is Christian Jones, who is the second youngest competitor, only 20 years of age. He's not new to Fishermania because he was part of the junior fisher a couple of years ago. He comes from Ellesmere Port on Merseyside. Well, I say Merseyside, if you live around there, they claim it's a Cheshire postcode, but he's from Merseyside, loves his darts, loves his fishing, and he's loving the limelight.
And there's that deep shallow method again. You see he's fishing with that little dumpy float. That's a pellet waggler designed for fishing shallow, but he's fishing well over 1 metre deep there. And it's cruisers. The fish aren't coming up shallow now, as we've seen with Jamie not catching, because Jamie is fishing very shallow.
What you're trying to do is imitate falling pellets through the water. So you feed pellets regular, and your pellet needs to be falling through at the same speeds. So if you're fishing 4 foot deep, it means you've got a lot longer with where you're actually fishing. Normally you wait till your float sets, which means your pellet's got to its full fall, and then you wind in and recast and feed again. When you've got 4 foot, you've got longer with it falling through the water for your fish to pick it up. So it makes it a little bit easier fishing a little bit deeper for people.
I'll tell you what I'll also explain, Rob. Match anglers use much smaller landing nets than carp anglers or pleasure anglers that would be fishing for fish of that size. The reason is you can see it there exactly. The fish getting a nice comfortable shape in the net, their mouths towards the top of the net, they're very easy to unhook. Don't even touch the fish. It's then put in the net's turned inside out, the fish swim out. Happy fish, happy angler.
He'd be very happy. All of these guys and gals here today started fishing for fun. Today they are fishing for a very big trophy and £50,000 as the Fisher Mania champion. Over there on peg 2, Jamie Hughes is having a little better look. And as you say, you have to be a patient man.
Change to the pellet waggler. There he is. That's a smaller fish. That's one of the fish you don't often catch in Fishermania, the sort of kilo fish.
They're the ones that hide out of the way.
Yeah.
Over to peg 8. Christian Jones, the baby of the competition. He's only been fishing himself 7 years, but he's accomplished a great deal. Fished in the juniors of Fishermania, also in the World Championships at under-18s back in 2016, and has 4 Western Pool Festival wins. Over there on the far side of the lake, we go to peg 12. Peg 12 is Tim Peters from Keighley, who fished here on Wednesday, as you did, Steve, as well.
Now that's a bigger fish. The last 3 or 4 we've seen have all been those, we said, the missing fish.
That's Simon Fry. I want Simon Fry to keep adding a few fish in net because I got a real good price on him this morning. And had a serious bet.
Peg 20, Luke Gasson, the landscape gardener from Surrey. Mr. Swank, as he likes to know, be known to his friends. Glad I got that right.
You know, the Ayfield fish at
9th place. Luke Gasson, he unfortunately had a good start, 6 kilos in the first half an hour, nothing in the second half an hour. Remember, we have a weigh-in every 30 minutes. It's the cumulative total over the 5 hours. Takes home £50,000, 10 grand for second.
People said peg 2 might be the problem peg, not for Jamie, not for the 3-time Fishermania champion. Here we go here now. I'm on the transfer desk at Sky at the moment, and Sky sources tell me he's got a whopper. God, that looks heavy. Here we go. So they're about to weigh now. There's 2 there, and there's one in particular that looks extremely heavy. Let's have a look at how much it weighs. It's been a very good start for Jamie Hughes on peg 2. Just about to weigh.
No, it's not doing it. Second.
Just, I mean, give us a second, just having to reset.
6 kilos, 225 grams.
6 kilos, 225 grams. Very happy fans over here, aren't you? Jamie Hughes fans, plenty there. It's a great start for Jamie Hughes. This first hour and a half, back to Ben.
Yeah, so we've just seen this in the last couple of moments. Paul Gibson, he took a good 5 or 10 minutes to bring this one in, but he was very tentative, and you can understand why. But look at the size of that, well worth the wait. You can imagine how nervous that must have been, because, as I say, he landed that first one early on, within the first 5 minutes of the match starting, after the hooter and the all-in, and then we've had to wait until now to get the second fish in the bag. So there we go, 3.85 kilo. That'll take him up past 5 kilos for the match. So Paul Gibson on this side of the lake, off and running, because it has been difficult here. Speaking to the anglers, obviously Andy May, just to peg along, it's really quietened down after a really heavy start. So hopefully those couple of fish landing means we get a little bit more action on this side.
Lots of activity with the bank runners as the fish are being weighed, and it's beginning to take shape. But it's toing and froing, isn't it? Nobody last year at this point, the leader was beginning to take control of the competition, but we've got no idea, we've got no clue.
No, and you know, we sort of, some people think we talk this up as being that is actually happening, but that really is the case. And somebody now without a fish can win this easily because of the size of the fish.
At this present moment in time, nobody's out of it, but no. You'd like to be in Jamie's position up there with the front runners. I've just seen Simon Fry lose a fish, he'd had a couple of fish, so everybody's still within a shout. It's wide open.
Bird in hand's worth two in the bush. You'd much rather have them in your net now, but as you say, historically at Hayfield, the pegs that start good don't usually finish good.
You're better off looking down from top at Leaderboard.
Yeah, that's true.
£50,000, a big trophy, and the glory of the top angling prize awaits somebody at around 4:30 this afternoon. Well, Jamie Hughes is the 3 times champion. When Matt Hall won it twice, we thought nobody would emulate that. But Jamie Hughes is sharpening the elbows, getting them out there and saying, oh, this is my manner.
Blank half hour as well. Had a blank half hour and suddenly found a few fish again. And that's what happens. The fish cruise around. They swim around the lake and they swim around in big shots, clockwise, of course, Steve. And it's the people they set, either that settle in front for longest, or those anglers that are more capable at getting to those fish and getting them in quickly and back out again for another. They're catching in little short bursts.
Christian Jones, the debutant, had moved into second place. In 11th place, Gavin Bridge has just had a good half an hour, just over 5 kilos, takes him into 11th place. Also in 16th place, Tim Peters got off to a terrible start, but he's just had a catch of almost 5 kilos to put him into place 16. Who's lagging behind? Who's concerned? Marcus Billen, who'd made the journey over from Germany. You know, fruitless travel so far. But Will Raisin, much fancied, favourite at the start of the day, he's creeping up the leaderboard into 18th place.
Interesting, Steve, that the 2 anglers without a fish are both next to MPEG.
Yeah.
On their respective banks.
To be honest, it's fishing as I'd expect it to fish. The sun's starting to come up. Obviously, it's a lot warmer now, and we were quite cold earlier this morning. There's a little bit of sun, so the fish will start to want to come even shallower. So there'll be more fish to be caught on pellet waggler, shallow pole, and such things as that. So fish are going to start to be caught. It'll slowly build up. You just want to try and keep yourself within distance of Jamie. You know what Jamie's like.
At the other end of the spectrum, 20-year-old Jordan Holloway, over there on peg 1, making his debut in Fisher Mania. The last weigh-in, he was coming 21st of 24 anglers, but he's beginning to make a charge.
Well, I can tell you something about him. He's qualified for every big match on an end peg, and it was quite embarrassing how many times he drew an end peg, which is an advantage. Today he's drawn peg 1 and end peg, so that may be an omen as well.
That's where there's a lot of traffic, isn't it, of the spectators that have come here today. But the fish have settled.
Yeah.
They're not spooked anymore.
Well,
no.
They're settled to an extent, but they'll continue to roam, and it's the person that exploits them quickest when they're in front of them for the longest that will be kept taking home a nice large check this evening.
It's renowned at Hayfield for 3 chucks, 3 fish, and you've 10 kilos. Yeah. Will's just got another fish.
Is he?
He's just playing another fish.
That fella's lucky. He's trying to find Will Raisin. Where is he? Come on. He's out there somewhere. Just over your shoulder. We found him. Will Raisin.
There he is.
He's the guy who's pulling the fish into the keep net. This is peg 3, Lee Riley, the joiner and builder from Manchester. Also making his debut in the Fishermania final. He qualified at Heronbrook in the middle of May. Won by £2 from David Brown. I'm sure he's watching very jealously this afternoon.
And when you look at the weights in these matches, £2 is a very, very close match. We've got one match won by less than, I think, a couple of ounces.
That's right.
And £233.
Yeah.
And there's my man Simon Fry with a nice fish too. Come on, Si.
Stop getting excited, Steve. Stop getting excited.
No, there's a long, long way to go. But that's how quickly it can change.
Yeah.
2 bites and you're back up there and fighting for position.
Well, Simon Fry, who in the last weigh-in was in 5th place. Si Fry. Everybody has a nickname in Fishermania.
Yeah.
UK Championship runner-up in 2012. That was the same year that he was last in the final of Fishermania.
So one thing I've noticed is there's a lot more fish starting to be caught on the pellet wagon. It's starting to increase, it's starting to get better. There'll be more fish coming out now.
That's probably the sun, Steve.
Yeah, a little bit of sun.
Up.
It's not full sunshine. There's still a bit of overcast cloud in it. It's perfect for fishing. This is perfect fishing conditions for the summer.
All-round sportsman Simon Skelton. Still plays football, coaches his son's team. Has been fishing since the age of 9, which means he's been fishing for 30 years. Give him a sums.
Well done.
Well, we're getting very close to the 2-hour weigh-in. Gavin Bridge, the senior citizen today of Fishermania, just short of his 60th birthday, has had a very good half an hour. That hooter, when we hear it, is going to be music to his ears. He's had a brilliant half an hour. Can he break into the top 4? Dominated so far by Jamie Hughes. Christian Jones in 2nd place. He's a debutant, as is Vince Cross. Abby Kendall, 10.5 kilos. I think I'm right in saying, though, so far, every time we've had a weigh-in, the leader has changed.
It has, and sometimes they've been returned, but there's, they've gone back to the top, but it's been a different leader for each half hour.
Jordan over here, Jordan Holloway, it's his first Fishermania Championship, and we're ready to weigh now, because I think Jordan's had a very, very good half an hour. I'm hearing 3. Here we go. So Jordan now. So Jordan, many tell me, if Fishermania experts say he will win Fishermania, whether it's today or not remains to be seen. But it's very competitive here between pegs 1 and 6. It was a slow start for him, but with the weather, it seems to be improving where we are at the moment. Oh, look at this. Okay. I think I can see 3. Is that 3 in there? Yeah, 3, yep.
Is 7 kilos, 200 grams.
7 kilos, 200 grams. Yeah, round of applause, yeah? Yeah, lovely.
Meanwhile, here is the Fishermania legend, the man who was leading last time we saw the leaderboard, Jamie Hughes on peg 2. He had a quiet half an hour. That's over. What an adventurous afternoon so far it has been for the ladies qualifier. Abby Kendall, 24 years of age, a student nurse by day, a superstar of ladies angling whenever she gets the chance. Won the section of the World Championships for the England women. Who were the champion in 2019? Will it be Jamie Hughes for the 4th time? In the last weigh-in, he didn't improve on his score. 16.975, but nothing in 30 minutes of angling. Andy Bennett with a weigh of 6.375 has come into 16th, come into second place, should I say. He's moved up the leaderboard. These were the much fancied pegs, 5 and 6. It's proving to be the case now. Simon Skelton has also moved up into third place. In the last weigh-in, he had a mighty 8.5 kilos, and that's the best half an hour that any of the anglers have had, apart from Jamie Hughes so far. Over on peg 22, Simon Fry has moved into fourth place with a weight of 3.57 kilos. Christian Jones doing his family proud, the youngest man out there, 20 years of age. In the last half an hour, he didn't catch anything, maybe distracted by talking to his family behind him on the bank. And Abby Kendall has moved down into 8th place. She also drew a blank in the last half an hour, as did Andy May, who got off to an excellent start today. He's stuck on 9.2 kilos. Will Raisin is moving up there. Will, of course, remember in the first hour, wasn't it, caught nothing at all this afternoon. But Will, in the last weigh, had just over 5.5 kilos, which gives him a total so far of 8.525 kilos. Well, there are still two anglers that have caught nothing so far. Pag 11, Steve Brindley and Marcus Billen, who's made a very long journey. We just hope they get something, just a tiddler, during the course of the afternoon. At what point do they start changing the tactics? I mean, if you found a method that's working this afternoon and it's working for you, do you stick to that, or is there that little temptation to mix things up?
I think now's the time that it's very difficult to change. You can't really keep swapping methods unless you're catching a fish, resting it like I did there, and then catching another fish. So you have a throwaway line, a throwaway method where you might catch one while you maybe build up the fish's confidence where you're fishing shallow, just by pinging out those few pellets, so you drop one in the edge. You throw a feeder out, you fish away from where you're firing your pellets, and then you have to go back on it and really try and bash it as hard as you can.
How time flies when you're having fun. The noise that you heard signals that we are due the next weigh-in. As you can see, the bank runners coming down to the anglers, preparing to weigh the fish that they've caught in the last 30 minutes. Lee Riley, whatever he's got on the end of the rod there, isn't going to count in this half an hour, but it will be the cumulative total of 5 hours of fishing here on Fishermania. Things are developing, changing. It's getting choppy out there on the waters as we've had a different leader pretty much every half an hour. We're at the halfway point now. We're trying to work out behind the scenes what's happening. I think Andy Bennett has had a very good half an hour. All will be revealed when we get down to our reporters. He looks a little lost, doesn't he? There's Michael Bridge.
Yeah, I'm with Jordan on peg 1. He's doing fantastic. We're just going over here because they said to me, you've got to come to me. Here you go. Here we go. I've caught an absolute whopper. Look at that over there. Absolutely huge. That is absolutely huge. So I'm waiting to get that weighed. We need to get this weighed. He's coming over now. He's coming over now. But while we're waiting to get this weighed, got so many fans. There we go. Let's have a look at the fans over here. It's fans. Look at you boys. You've been here all day. You supporting Jamie Hughes?
Come on, Jamie!
I think he likes Jamie Hughes. We're going to get this weighed now. Here we go. Oh, absolute whopper. This is Jordan's first tournament, 20 years of age. So if he wins today, obviously a hell of a long way to go, but he would be the youngest. The youngest last year was at 21 years of age. So we're going to get this weighed now. But they called me over. This is a whopper. So here we go. Whoa. Oh my goodness me. The crowd reaction there. I get the impression that this could shoot Jordan right up the ladder.
9 kilos, 775 grams.
9 kilos, 775 grams. So it's all going here on between pegs 1 and 6.
There is Andy Bennett. He has tried on 30 occasions in 10 years to get to the Fisher Mania final. There has been another Andy Bennett that has made it, but it wasn't him. He's been second in the qualifiers on 3 occasions, but he is now leading Fisher Mania 26. His last weight just under 6 kilos. Jamie Hughes had 5.125 kilos. He is in second place. Simon Skelton on peg 5, 18.975 kilos. It's going to come down to a tiddler, as you know, at the end of the day. We saw Jordan Holloway there, who had a wonderful half an hour. He caught 9.775 kilos in 30 minutes. He's more than doubled his catch for the day. We're at the halfway point of Fisher Mania. Simon Fry, very much in the picture as well. Bear in mind, we've just had almost 10 kilos caught. So there's 10 kilos between Abby Kendall in 8th place and the current leader, Andy Bennett, who is leading. It looks as though it's amongst the top 8. We'll get 10 kilos in half an hour. Do that over the space of, well, we've not quite got 2.5 hours left, then these guys stand a chance. We've got some very experienced anglers in the middle third of the competition so far. Andy May, champion 3 years ago. Will Raisin, second on a couple of occasions. World champion, UK champion, Euro champion, fancied by the bookies, and those in the know, currently unlucky in 13th place. A word of sympathy for those in the bottom third, hoping they can get 10 kilos to send them up the leaderboard. Just anything would do for Steve Brindley and Marcus Billing. Well, last year, our winner was the youngest competitor. He's 21 years of age. This young man is a year younger. He could celebrate his 21st in a year's time with £50,000. The way things are developing. Jordan Holloway currently in 4th place, but the signs are he's going to improve upon that. Showing no signs of nerves, no trepidation. Over on peg 17, currently in 16th place, is Paul Gibson. It's a whopper.
Unusually, we've just seen a fish from this bank, from the woods bank, as they call it, not the flat bank on the other side. And this bank is really an unknown quantity as far as Fisho's concerned, because the original series of Fisher Mania matches here, the 5 years that it was at Hayfield before, there were only 16 pegs, and they were all on that far bank.
That's right.
So now the anglers on that bank have got more room, and these pegs are untried as far as Fisho's concerned. So we really don't know how they'll react to the crowds. And to be honest, I think there's more people here now than there were last year.
I mean, when you look, there's fish coming out everywhere.
Yeah.
Now. All coming on the pellet waggler, but all sizes. There's lots and lots of fish coming out now. But they're all between peg 1 and sort of 7 or 8. That's where all the fish are.
Andy Powell last year was one of the few people who got the pellet waggler to work, wasn't he?
Yes.
Do you remember? Because Jamie Hughes next to him said, I can't catch it, he can have it. And Jamie went back onto the pole.
The fish are getting bigger.
They're big fish.
If you remember me talking a bit earlier about Jordan being in the MPEG all the big matches, on Wednesday when I fished it, Jordan drew MPEG, the very same peg as he's drawn today.
No.
And it's catching some fish today. Now, whether that's an omen, I don't know.
And for those that are uninitiated, once they know they've reached the final, they want to get here, check out the conditions down. It's like a golfer goes to the green and checks out the putts from various positions, just in case they get one. And a lot of these guys will have been here, as you say, a lot of them were here on Wednesday competing, and they'll also have worked their way around the lake to see where the fish are and what they're going to do.
To work out your techniques, which will work. I mean, Will actually fished the peg he's on and had a really good day on Wednesday, I think it was. He's been up for a week, Will, which is unlike Will. Yeah, Will's ability doesn't need him to be there that often.
Almost jumped out of his seat then, Carl Visser, who's come from Bean in Netherlands. He's a tackle shop owner over in the Netherlands. Won the Dutch Championship several times. He wants to take the Fisher Mania trophy and get £50,000 through customs as well.
That's one of the problems I have fishing on a long landing net pole. There's so much leverage on a pole of that length. You can get the net under the fish and just haven't got the power to lift the net up around the fish. That fish was in the net then, and look at the size of it, it's like a submarine. It's a yellow submarine. Oh. Big Visser has a big fisher.
You have to show you have to be ambidextrous.
Yeah.
Oh, he looks absolutely delighted. Well, the waters look still out there, but the leaderboard during the course of the afternoon has been choppy. What we want to see, Keith and Steve, are fish being caught. Now, Steve is a veteran of this. Remember, we've been going for a quarter of a century on Fishermania. Steve Cook won it in 1999. He was here, not angling the first year, but he has a presence. He'll tell us about that in a moment. But Steve, you've just said as we're in that commercial break that you think it has been the best Fishermania for catching fish that you've ever seen.
It has, most definitely. I don't think they're going to get the biggest weight, but I think for fish being caught all over the lake, over the competition on Fishermania, with people who's in with a chance halfway through, there'll be people sat down there who say, I'm still in this, who's probably 8 or 10 kilo behind. There's lots of fish being caught. It's really exciting and really open, and that's what we want. That's what we want it to be.
Well, we've got another leader. It's Simon Skelton. In the last half an hour, he had 9.975 kilos. So he's nipped ahead again of Jamie Hughes, who did catch. Remember, he's had a couple of half an hours where he's got nothing at all, Jamie. This time, just under 3 kilos. 2.85 takes him up to a total of 24.95 kilos. In third place, dropping down from first to third, is Andy Bennett, just under 1.5 kilos in the last weigh. And Jordan Holloway's had an excellent afternoon. The youngster, the debutant, he's in fourth place, but don't discount Andy May. In the last half an hour, over 8 kilos caught takes him up to 20.275 kilos. £50,000 for the winner of Fishermania. Jordan Holloway's only been fishing 5 years. He's so new to it, he didn't even take part in the junior Fishermania. Already an England youth international. He's been in the world youth for the last 3 years. He's currently in fourth place. We're a couple of minutes away from weigh-in number 7, and Jordan's going to get very excited because a couple of minutes ago, this happened. Get in there, you beauty. I'd imagine the next 90 seconds or so can't come quick enough for him. He's currently in fourth place behind Andy Bennett, Jamie Hughes, and the current leader, Simon Skelton. Hoping to get his fish in the net to complete his catch before the weigh-in is Andy Bennett. Peg 6, third place. Was leading going into the last weigh-in, Keith.
Yeah, and I saw him have a little look on the pole. Obviously, it wasn't that successful look. Steve said he saw him land one, and it must have been a smaller fish, so it looks like he's gone back out on the pellet waggler, because he was definitely shipping out a pole when I saw him. A decent fish, you know, that's 3 kilos
3
there,
kilo
maybe.
plus, yeah.
Getting on for £7. They're big fish. In match fishing terms, they're big fish. And tackles had to be developed to handle those bigger fish. You know, the old days of match fishing, you'd be fishing with a line of a 12-ounce or a 1-pound breaking strain. A hook that you could hide inside a single maggot. If you wanted to, you could actually thread the hook right inside it. They're no good with fish like this. You'd never land one, would you? You'd never land one.
No.
This is peg 4, 8th place, Gavin Bridge from Chelmsford in Essex. Qualified first week of June at Coleman's Cottage.
Coleman's Cottage.
His debut in the final.
2 fishing, 2 puts. And that's how it's going.
I think it's a case of expect the unexpected this afternoon. There's a few fishermen with a few tales to tell.
See, even those that we're looking at saying, no, they're not very big. That's
£6.
Yes, it's certainly 2 kilo, isn't it? It's certainly 4.5 pound, whatever size. I remember Lee. I think Lee Thornton there. I think he was the youngest competitor in his first Fishermania. He was only 18, and he's back now. Whatever it is, 10 years on. It's incredible. Maybe even longer than that.
He was the runner-up in 2005, so
14 years ago.
14 years ago.
So when like I say, once you fish this competition, actually being in it again is like the main aim for all these people, all the new. So it ever increases your people.
And you look at the tackle that people carry now. Look at those rod bags behind him. Well, you know, I had one rod bag with 5 tubes in, and that carried all my kit. I went on a qualifier last year, and Perry Stone walked past me with 4 rod bags, 2 whole tackle boxes on a massive great trolley. It looked like a container going down the bank.
Well, the noise you heard in the background signals that we are due the 7th weigh-in. Those guys will want to know exactly what is in the bag, what is happening around the lake with the other 23 competitors. Will Simon Skelton be the latest one to take the lead and lose the lead? All will be revealed. Steve Cook said earlier today this is the World Cup of fishing. I've heard it described as the FA Cup of fishing because the minnows can take on the giants, and I heard one of the promoters today said it's the Super Bowl of fishing. It is living up to the hype. It doesn't need any hype, this. We've had a different leader in every weigh-in so far this afternoon. That is the current leader, Simon Skelton, who had a good 4 kilos lead over Jamie Hughes the last time that we weighed. Remember, we have 10 weigh-ins during the course of the 5 hours, every 30 minutes, and then what happens is at the end of the day, whoever's caught the most fish during the 5 hours takes home £50,000 and a big trophy. It's as simple as that, and then they go down in fishing folklore. I think we can go down to the water's edge again. It's been a busy afternoon for Michael Bridge because he's rubbing shoulders with all of the leaders. Who's he talking to this time?
Absolutely, Rob. I'd love nothing more, honestly. It's gone so quick this year. It's just like last year's. Great part, this pegs 4, 5 and 6. We're going up to Andy Bennett now in peg 6. It's his debut, remember, and he's having an excellent afternoon so far. And we're just going to do a live weigh-in here. Is there 2 in there? Oh my goodness, it's 4. Andy Bennett, 2 absolute whoppers and 2 little.
$5 kilos, 500 grams.
5 kilos, 500 grams. So Andy Bennett on his debut, still well in contention.
Well, just before the weigh-in, this was Jordan Holloway. He's very keen to get it in before they completed weigh-in at number 7. Remember, he has been leading during parts of the afternoon. I believe the way things stand, he's dropping down into 6th place. This is over on peg 6. Andy Bennett, who has been leading for parts of the afternoon. Of course, he has dropped behind Simon Skelton, but news reaching is, of course, that Jamie Hughes has had a good half an hour. But maybe the man we should be watching out for is Will Raisin. And this was Jamie Hughes a couple of minutes ago. Look at the dexterity of the 3 times Fishermania champion. This could go any way. You cannot predict who the winner is going to be. We've got you hooked, haven't we? Well, this is the youngster, Jordan Holloway, on the unfancied peg 1. He's 8 kilos behind the current leader, Simon Skelton. But Simon in the last weigh-in had, well, not a disappointing, it's a prolific, I suppose, 3.9 kilos. Jamie had 4.5 kilos. Andy Bennett came up with 5.5 kilos. And of course, the man to fear is Will Raisin with just over 9 kilos. Will's at it again, we're told. Will on peg 15. Currently in 6th place. Time has flown this afternoon, but I would imagine in the minds of these anglers, the next hour is going to go so very quickly. Not enough time for them.
You can see what Will's doing there. He's feeding 2 little spots. He's fishing 1 spot, not getting a bite, striking, bringing it towards him 4 or 5 metres, then feeding again. So he's feeding 1 out, 1 in.
We're into the final hour of Fishermania 26. This is as close, I think, as it's ever been in a quarter of a century that we have been covering the top angling competition. Simon Skelton leading, just ahead of 3 times champion Jamie Hughes. Andy Bennett had a brilliant afternoon. Jordan Holloway, the new kid on the block, has caught a couple of fish in the last half an hour. Andy May knows these waters well, and Will Raisin is on a march. As we go down to our reporters in a few moments' time, all will be revealed. Remember, it's how many fish you've caught, cumulative total, every half an hour. They add them all together before 4:30 this afternoon, and then their winner will be announced. There was a year once when it went down to the final seconds and somebody fell to bag one, and it was, well, there were tears, there was joy, there was elation. Come on, let's all pray for Steve Lindley and hope he can get something in the final 60 minutes. Roland Lucas, I think, has got a stickleback in his bag.
This is critical time now, Keith.
Last hour. You know, last hour on many, many matches, especially for the winners, is the best hour.
Yeah.
You know, as the sun gets a bit lower in the sky, the angle of the sun changes, areas that have been seemingly devoid of fish suddenly come to life. I'm not saying the fish haven't been there. There's been some reason for them not to be feeding. And who knows what's going to happen in the last hour, because what's happened today, Steve, I'm giving up predicting.
Yeah, it's just been, well, it's been an unbelievable match so far. It can only get better. We've got the best hour to come, hopefully.
Yeah, you normally say so.
And everybody's catching fish.
Jamie's in again.
You've just got to keep in control of what you're doing and keep on top of your game.
If you're an angler out there, we know that you're transfixed. I wonder how many people have been converted to this afternoon. They say, you're working on the fishing this weekend? Surely not. Tell them to, you know, just cast an eye over events, and I bet they've been in front of the television screen for the last 3 or 4 hours. Well, which way will it go?
Between me and Cookie, we've probably got best part of 120 years of fishing. Right? Because I've got 90, and we can't take our eyes off the monitor. We're watching the big screen along with everybody else because it is transfixing.
One thing that's real unusual about this year, and I've come to virtually every Fishing Mania, nearly every year it's been won on the pole. Today, if you look around this lake, virtually nobody's fishing the pole now. Every single competitor is fishing a pellet waggler, which is a nice, refreshing change to get away from all pole fishing. It's nice to see a different technique winning it, but everybody's catching on it as well.
We had 10 years at Cudmore when it was the lake was designed for pole fishing, wasn't it? It was pole fishing and a little bomb or a little feeder maybe, but primarily pole fishing. When we were at Hallcroft, we're saying this is close. The second match at Hallcroft, there was something like 10 ounces.
4 ounces.
4 ounces divided in the top 3, 10 ounces divided in the top 6.
Yes.
But the weights were tiny. The fish were tiny.
11 pound.
Exactly. The big fish just didn't play. This is as close as it's going to get where you're dealing with big fish. They're big, big, big fish.
At the moment, it is fish for fish. This is Andy Bennett, peg 6. Currently in 3rd place, roughly 3.5 kilos behind the leader, Simon Skelton. The thing is, once we concentrate the cameras on one angler, somebody else elsewhere catches. And there we go with Kirsten. Well, let's get down to the leader, Simon Skelton. This is his way, Michael Bridge.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah, number 5, Simon Skelton is the only place to be, isn't it, at the moment? At peg 5, Simon Skelton is in the lead, but it is neck and neck here. It's so tight. It's the final hour, the most exciting hour.
3 kilos, 600 grams.
3 kilos, 600 grams. It's the final hour, the most exciting hour of Fishing Mania. Tell your friends, if they're not watching, to tune in now.
Simon Skelton, 3.6 kilos in the last weighing. We've just heard that Ben Haggers at just under 3 kilos. He's down in 13th place. Lee Thornton, 2.9 kilos. Simon Fry, 3.45 kilos. The difference at the moment between 6th place Will Raisin, 23.6, and Simon Skelton, 36.475, around 10 kilos. We're into the final hour of Fishing Mania. Remember, in the best half hours, the anglers have been bagging about 9 kilos. The tide could sway anyway. Andy Bennett currently in 3rd place. less than 2 kilos behind Jamie Hughes with 2 weigh-ins before the latest winner of Fishermania.
Maybe that's why he snagged. He didn't snag on the pellet waggler, he snagged on the bomb.
Yeah.
And he's tackled up another bomb rod.
Yeah.
This is the Super Bowl of fishing, that's what we're calling it now. And we have one of the greats, Jamie Hughes, the only man ever to win this tournament on 3 occasions. That's 150 grand he's won over the years. Can Simon Skelton grab that money and the trophy from him as we are now into the final hour of Fishermania? In third place, it's Andy Bennett, 36.1 kilos. Jordan Holloway, the youngster, is in fourth place, 31.375 kilos. I don't want to dismiss Andy May or Will Raisden or Gavin Bridge or Luke Webster from the tournament, but it does look now as though it's going to come down to a 4-way fight between Hughes, Skelton, Bennett and Holloway. I was wondering what Andy Bennett had in his ear there. I think he looks like he's got... I'm sure he's not listening to music or Desert Island Discs. He might well have somebody listening at home to the advice that you're giving through his television set and acting upon that.
I don't think so. I don't think he needs us two helping him. He's quite able to look after himself. I'm sure he's got some nice relaxing music in there, a bit of death metal or something.
If you look there, Keith, that's that fish that he's just had on a pole. Yeah. And he's caught it normal shallow, traditional shallow, slapping.
Yeah. And he's picked the pole up again now and gone back out on it. There he is.
There he is.
We're told he's actually listening to Oasis.
Oh, nice.
Yep, his favourite singer is Sol Gallagher.
They definitely maybe think it's Oasis.
We believe they all got fish in the bag in the last half an hour. Let's go down and get the latest on what has been caught from Jenna Brooks.
I am on peg 2 with the current leader, Jamie Hughes. Now, I heard the studio before saying that it's the first time that Jamie has ever really looked nervous. Well, I asked him if he was nervous and he laughed and then said, nah. So I don't know whether that means he's got a big bag of fish. But Craig, if we can bring them up to put them on the scales and see if he continues to lead Fishermania 2019. Again, we are on peg 2 with Jamie Hughes, Mr. Fisho himself. It is a good one, but it is only one. Let's see what it weighs.
$1 kilo 850.
1 kilo 850. Michael Bridge on peg 5. What do you have for us?
Simon Skelton was in the lead. Remember, it is his debut. See what we've got here. There is nothing in it. Will it be Jamie Hughes again, or will we get a debutant on Fishermania? There's nothing in it. So let's have a look. It needs to be 3 kilograms or so to take the lead at this late stage.
4 kilos 650.
4 kilos 650. Oh, unbelievable. Right, let's go over now to peg 6. Andy Bennett here, listening to Oasis, and he's electric at the moment. He's having a great half an hour. If we can just weigh in now, he's going to need about 5, I think, but it's his debut. He's a quiet man, he's composed. He's so driven today as well, but he's got so much of his family behind him. But in we go now. Oh, they look good. They look good. They look good. They look good. So stay with me here. There's nothing in it. It's so exciting between pegs 2, 5 and 6. As we get to the climax of Fishermania, and even the crowd, they're so quiet as well, so reserved, just waiting. They are so nervous as well. There's family here, there's friends here, come from all over the country. Oh my goodness me! That looks over 5 to me. Here we go. This could put him in the lead. Oh.
7 kilo 675.
7 kilo 675. Absolutely unbelievable.
Peg 5's got one on the pole, so that's going to take him back to, what does it need to be, 2 kilo? That could take him back 2.5 kilo to take him back in the lead. So a majority of fishing here are that sort of size.
We've not seen many under 2 kilos today, have we? Let's put it that way.
They made a it's come off.
Oh,
he's lost it.
Oh dear, dear. dear.
You know, sometimes things like that happen. He's got to get his mind back on what he's doing and go back out and try to pick another fish up. I think realistically now, Rob, it's down to the top 3. I think it's down to them this last 20-25 minutes.
Yeah, that's a pretty good call, because Jordan now needs 2 fish to close the gap, and he's got 15 minutes to 20 minutes, say, to do it in.
He's got to catch 2 fish and they not catch a fish.
Yeah.
But 1 fish between any one of those 3 can be the decider.
Exactly.
And that lost fish that we've just seen with Simon Skelton could be critical. And probably will be.
Now you've got to decide. You're sitting there. Do you keep on the pole? I don't know if they're getting signs. There's no striking and missing. Or are you the one that has the bottle to pick the pellet waggler up again? It's difficult not to have a chuck on it, Steve, isn't it?
Especially
it's difficult.
Especially the amount of fish that they catch on it.
Yeah. The only thing is, it seems like they've caught on the pole when the sun's come out, and the sun's just reappeared.
Yeah.
It went back under the cloud for a while.
Well, we're going to be back with about 10 minutes to go in this competition. Go nowhere, put the kettle on, don't take the dog for a walk, that's going to take you too long. Stick with us as we enter the crucial final 10 minutes of Fisher Mania. Welcome back. We have got you hooked. While you're away for a couple of minutes, there has been a lot of activity out there on Hayfield Lake. The leader, Andy Bennett, has bagged. Remember, just before we went to the break, he lost a fish. He currently has a lead of what, about 2.5 kilos over Simon Skelton. But beware, because Simon Skelton, his neighbour out there on peg 5, also has a fish in the net. Keith will have a look at that in a moment and tell us what he thinks is caught there. It's a little quiet for Jamie Hughes from the Wirral, and Jordan Holloway in 4th place is desperate. But over there, Jamie Hughes has a fish on the end of the line. Remember, we're into the final 10 minutes here. Time is running out. All afternoon, they've had a chance to take their time, to calm their nerves, to get the fish in the net, to get it in the bag before the weigh-in. Now, time is counting down. Time is against Jamie Hughes. We believe that the leader, Andy Bennett, over on peg 6, has got another one on the end of his huge pole.
Certainly looks that way. That fish that Simon Skelton caught was an absolute beast. That looked like it was probably 5 kilos, Steve.
I'm sure it was, but Andy's playing another fish now.
Yeah.
Andy's playing a fish. It's wide open. This is going to go right down to wire, and this is how we want it to be, isn't it? We want it to be like that.
Just as we have a quiet moment, next year, make a note, 11th of July, the final will be here, same place, and a little change, the winner will be invited back, we believe.
Ooh.
That means Jamie might never have to have a qualify again.
Might never have to go home.
Let's just win every one.
We'll talk about that later. 9 kilos between Jordan Holloway in 4th place. Andy Bennett at the top of the table at the moment. We know that Simon Skelton has got a fish in the bag. Jamie Hughes will not be nervous. They will want to know how long we have left. Time is running down. There is no extension beyond that final hooter. Whatever they have caught goes to the scales, and then it's added to what they have already this afternoon. Andy Bennett has a cumulative total of 43.775 kilos.
Now, Andy Bennett's 2 and Simon Skelton's 1 are going to be fairly close.
That's right, but he's a little bit behind. Jamie's just lost his fish in the net.
Has he? Oh.
Yeah, which has been a thing today, people losing fish. But it's going to be close. I'm almost certain that Andy's going to be like 3 or 4 kilos in front. But one more fish either way can really take it to the wire.
7 minutes remaining. Is that going to be the turning point for the 3 times champion? Won it in 13, won it in 15, won it in 2017. It's not looking good for 2019. It appears that trophy is going to be on the mantelpiece of the Oasis fan. He's singing along, isn't he, to the songs, Andy Bennett. We know that he's got a couple of fish in the bag, but how big is the single fish of Melton Mowbray's Simon Skelton? He knows these waters well. He won a pole championship at Hayfield in 2018.
This is that big fish he caught. This is the fish we just
I think
saw.
that's a 5 kilo fish.
That's not far off, you know. That's a big fish.
That's a 5 kilo fish.
Yeah.
Or very
if you
close.
don't know you're angling, the fish go back in the water, though. I'm sure you'd like to frame that one.
That's what Keith used to call a Barney Rubble.
Yeah, Barney Rubble, double figure.
There's going to be an explosion in under 2 minutes' time. We're still not certain whether it's going to be Andy Bennett, the leader in the last weight, after he had a great half an hour of 7.5 kilos. Simon Skelton, we know he's got a huge fish in the bag. Jamie Hughes has gone quiet. Time seems to be standing still. On peg 5, Simon Skelton in second place, still gets you £10,000 if you finish in silver position.
His rig's just tangled. He's had to change to another rig. Simon.
I think he struck, Keith. I'm not sure whether he fouled up one or something happened. It seemed to see him strike. I've never known this place so quiet.
No.
Normally every fish people are screaming and shouting. It's quiet down. There's a lot of tension here today.
If the framing of that shot there, if that camera just panned up about a metre, the bank behind him is absolutely ram-packed. Look at that.
There's your winner.
Yep.
Come to Daddy.
The bagger has bagged up.
As he looks at that fish, he sees a reflection of £50,000 in his eyes.
Yeah. He knows he's won it now.
You don't want to miss the net with it, does he?
We are into 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, what a competition.
We know who the champion is. We think that it's Andy Bennett, but the gripping action doesn't stop here. Remember, he's got a slender lead over Simon Skelton in second place. Tears of joy. He has a massive fish in the bag. Is it going to be enough for Simon Skelton to close the gap on Andy Bennett?
If you see, they're two different contrasts. Simon Skelton's nearly in tears, and Andy Bennett's and his wife's in tears of joy from where he is. But
wonderful camaraderie as well. They've sat alongside each other during the course of the afternoon on pegs 5 and peg 6. It's been an amazing contest. One of the great Fisher Manias. Credit to young Jordan Holloway and Jamie Hughes, who are 3rd and 4th place. Andy May in 5th place as well. Luke Webster at one point looked like he may be making a charge. Will Raisin had a dreadful start, one of the legends. Again, he's not going to win Fisher Mania. We have the formalities to complete. He's not going head first into the water just yet. That will be a little premature.
There's a lot of emotion here. Andy Bennett's family and friends, with Simon's family and friends at the moment. But it is time to get some clarity, some definition. Who has won it? One of the most exciting climaxes to Fisher Mania. But it all comes down to the final half hour. And what a brilliant final half hour we had. And just to get that final confirmation, Andy Bennett, his first time. Oh, look at that. I mean, unbelievable. Where is he? Here we go.
Just have to wait for them to hold.
Yep.
8 kilos, 725 grams.
8 kilos, 725 grams for Andy Bennett. So Skelton, Simon Skelton will need about 11.5 now. He's shaking his head. Ready to weigh in over here, guys? Here we go. He's done brilliant whatever happens though, hasn't he?
He's done awesome. He's done everything he wanted to do. He's caught some fish. Not quite sure it's enough.
Yeah.
But
I think he knows it's not quite enough, but we will weigh it all the same. Just getting all the stuff over here now. What a fantastic! You don't get that in Premier League football or anything in sport at the moment. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So we're coming down to weigh in now for Simon Skelton. So this is Simon Skelton. It's a brilliant afternoon for him, and we're going to weigh in for his final one. It's only one though, but it is going to be weighed, and we'll just get the final.
Four kilos 100.
4 kilos 100. 4 kilos 100. So we know what that means. We have a new champion of Fishermania, qualified from Partridge Lakes, his Fishermania debut. Andy Bennett from Manchester played Oasis all afternoon, but he is electric. Andy, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.
Can you quite believe it? You're the winner of Fishermania.
I felt like I'd run out of a few carp bin match, so to come back, I'm absolutely, made up. I can't believe it's just sort of come to plan. I was hoping they'd come back late on the pole, but I can't believe they did, you know what I mean? So, made up.
I know during the tournament in the afternoon, like you wanted to focus, didn't want to talk, but how does it, are you speechless right now? Has it totally sunk in?
No, it's not sunk in at all. I mean, I'm a fishing coach, I do it for a living, this is my living. What the money will do for me is like massive, do you know what I mean? It just hopefully means that I can push on and try and win more and more now.
This is one of the most exciting tournaments we've seen. Is this one of the closest matches you've been involved in?
To be honest, I didn't really know where I was up to. It's only the last 40 minutes where I really knew that I was in with a chance. I thought Jamie was like well above, but obviously we've clawed it back. He's not caught last hour. I didn't think Simon had what he had. I was just totally focused on what I was doing. Paul's just saying keep going, you're doing all right from where you are, and come good in the end.
What was your game plan during it?
Well, this peg is like a pole peg because it narrows up, so the fish naturally push onto the pole line. So I've had a couple early, a couple late, threw Crassios in the middle, caught a couple on the waggler, but then there was a little, once I'd caught the twig trying to cast high and pulled it off the bank, it's made it harder to cast there because I've caught it 3 or 4 times. Ended up snapping my rig, had to set up twice, so I had a bit of a nightmare. And then I've seen a fish on the pole, gone in, caught one, and ended up catching 4 late on and lost one. So I've made the right decision, and looking back, I should have just sat on the pole all day, but it's hard when you're not catching, you're trying to make something happen. It's one of them venues where you've got to be patient and stick to your guns, and if I'd have just fished pole shallow all day, could have maybe had a bit more.
Well, you've got a very emotional family over there waiting for you. You listen to Oasis as well, it's a new one for us, listen to Oasis, but it is a tradition. Go and jump in that lake. The winner of Fishermania, Andy Bennett! He's got to take those headphones off. He's had Oasis on them all afternoon.
And now we begin with the winner of Fishermania Juniors with a total catch weight of 11.05 kilograms, collecting prize money of £1,000, the trophy and the title of Fishermania Junior Champion, Billy Marlowe. And now on to Fishermania ladies with a total catch weight of 18.5 kilograms, collecting prize money of £1,000, the trophy and the title of Fishermania Ladies Champion, Sarah Taylor. And now to the grand final of Fishermania. We begin with the runner-up, catching a total weight of 45.225 kilograms, collecting prize money of £10,000, Simon Skelton. And now your winner with a total catch weight of 52.5 kilograms, collecting the trophy, prize money of £50,000, a guaranteed place in the grand final of next year's Fishermania, and the title of Fishermania champion, Andy Bennett.